Joining us now it's Miss Hayley Stevens.
Hello.
Also, Hayley Stevens from Hayley the Ghost fame, isn't it? Could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. Well, probably best known as the co-host of the Righteous Indignation Podcast, which has been going since about 2009. And the tagline is Sceptical about the supernatural. We kind of talk about paranormal news stories, and we interview people who make paranormal claims, just to try and get some insight. Before I got involved with that, I was a paranormal researcher of a more credulous kind. So probably up until about 2007, I had beliefs in ghosts, monsters, healing, all kind of crazy things. And then Tristan, who I co-host the podcast with, I got to know him through like a discussion forum, and I became more skeptical and slowly progressed to being a much more skeptical researcher, kind of discarded my beliefs, and now I investigate paranormal from a rational point of view.
Could you say there was particularly something that changed your mind about ghosts and such paranormal claims?
I think that there was, I read about other people's opinions on how the things I believed and the things I was doing were wrong, but I didn't particularly agree. But I respected that opinion, and it was there in the back of my mind. And then there was one occasion, I can't remember where it was now, we were in this pub that was meant to be haunted, and we caught the landlord trying to, he was faking activity. We caught him hiding behind the door. He'd thrown a glass across the room and then hidden, hoping that we'd think it was a poltergeist, so an active ghost. And but we caught him, and it made me wonder. I wonder what else we've been fooled with in the past, and what other people have done that has fooled us, and maybe what we've done ourselves that has fooled us. And after that, I kind of stopped doing all the things that we were doing, like table tipping, dowsing, mediumship, stuff like that. And I think that experience kind of propelled me to take the skeptical ideas a lot more seriously.
What other weird beliefs did you follow before becoming a critical thinker?
Gosh, how long do you have? The main belief I had was the idea that ghosts were real and that they were the spirits or the souls of people. I believed in the afterlife. I believed in monsters. I come from Wiltshire in England. There's a lot of folklore. There are these creatures that are called, what are they called? The Grim, or the Shuck, which is like a big demon dog. And the village I grew up in was said to have one of these dogs, and I believed they were real. I believed in fairies. I believed in magic. I believed in healing, mediumship, psychics. Yeah, loads. It is quite strange when you have the belief in ghosts. A lot of it just kind of circles around that belief in ghosts. It kind of spirals off from there. And it's not until you step back and you look and you think, oh my gosh, I really did believe in so much. It's terrible. It's really embarrassing, but I'm not afraid to.
Don't worry.
No.
I was that kind of believer too, so
yeah.
I don't believe quite in those kind of things, but I believe in other weird things, so it's okay. Did you start blogging before or after stopping believing in ghosts?
Well, we had, when I had the belief and we were doing like the trying to find ghosts thing, we had a website that I would write articles for, but it wasn't really a blog, and I started my personal blog. I think it was just after I became, or as I was becoming more skeptical, and I just used to write on there about things that I was discovering and the ideas I was having and the way my thoughts were changing. And around the time that I gave my beliefs up, I had a lot of negative feedback or behaviour aimed my way from people that I used to be friends with who held those beliefs, didn't like the fact that I was giving them up. And these were people who would go ghost hunting with me and do the table tipping and do the seances. And then because, I was the founder of the team, and I decided that we wouldn't be doing that because we were going into other people's premises, and it was disrespectful and possibly unethical. and they didn't like the fact that they would no longer be allowed to do seances, and they became quite horrible. And so I used to use the blog initially as a way to kind of, in a way it was because the behaviour that they were displaying, it was quite horrible really, and it was just an outlet really for my frustration, and it just grew from there.
You kind of anticipated my next question. I was about to ask you, have you lost any friends because you are lost of belief in ghosts?
I've lost so many people. Because when I became more sceptical, I made the decision, right, we're going to stop doing table tipping, like all the things I mentioned. And it was very sudden. I didn't slowly stop it. I was like, right, from now on, we're not going to be doing this, and this is why. And we had about 13 people in the team at the time, plus there was another 2 teams that we worked with occasionally, and they had probably between them a dozen more people. And when we stopped doing the pseudoscientific stuff, there was only 3 people left who would talk to me or go investigating. They're still in the team that I work with now, but dozens of people, yeah. Oh, it's horrible, but there you go, it happens.
Yeah, it happens. Now that you're a skeptic, was there any ghost investigation that caused you trouble in particular? Was there a moment when you say, this might actually be a ghost?
I've had experiences that I can't explain. It's always difficult because you always have to try and second guess yourself, because, I mean, for example, I was in a hotel, and this hotel is in a big old manor house, and it's got a chapel inside. So it's a hotel, but it's got the original chapel there, and I was in the chapel, and I felt something touch my back, like literally kind of like somebody grabbed my back, and I thought somebody had come into the room, was trying to scare me, and I looked around and I was on my own. And you try and second guess, you think, well, it could have been my clothing, it could just be the way my shirt was settling, I've imagined it, and you think, well, but you can't be sure. But then the mistake that I used to make would be, I would say, oh, that was a ghost, but then I don't know what a ghost is. So that in itself is a stupid assumption to make. And yeah, I mean, there are so many weird, I mean, I've seen things that would be classed as an apparition, but you think, well, maybe I'm hallucinating, and it becomes quite fun when you're aware of all the different causes for these kind of experiences, or possible causes, and you have to try and work it out, but you can't always be sure, you know.
100% that was the cause.
Yeah, and especially as you're the eyewitness, you can't really...
can brush it off.
Yeah, and you can't really rely on, because, I mean, I'm aware that you can't rely on eyewitness testimony, and you're like, well, I'm the eyewitness, and I'm probably lying to myself, and then nobody else can really help because it's just my word. And then you're like, but now I've got this experience that I don't know what to do with. But
do you go, when you try to investigate for the ghost, do you go and turn on the lights?
Oh yeah, well, it depends. If the ghost or the thing, or the monster or whatever, if something was experienced during the day, we will investigate during the day when it was experienced. So if something happened at, say, 1 p.m, we would try and replicate that and be there at 1 p.m. If the lights were on, we will turn the lights on, and we'll try and have it as similar as we can. And, I mean, if something was seen or experienced with the lights off, then we would turn the lights off, but we'd probably also try it with the lights on to see if there was a difference of perception there. But yeah, I used to do it with the lights off all the time. It's so stupid. I mean, I've got footage. I mean, if you do a quick YouTube search, there's videos on there of me, like the night vision, the green night vision, and doing stupid stuff. It's like, why am I doing that? It makes no sense at all. You're just priming yourself, really.
Is there a most common cause trick or something like that which is used by people who fake ghost apparitions?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, as technology develops, I mean, you can now fake ghost photos and stuff on your iPhone. I've got an app on my phone, and you can add the ghost in afterwards. I don't know about, I mean, obviously, like with Photoshop and things like that, that all the time photos are being churned out with ghosts in them that really aren't ghosts. Or, and yeah, I mean, some of the fakes are really obvious. I don't know if there's like a common thing. I think it's just depending on how easily they could do it. I mean, I've seen photos on TV shows, like we've got a TV show in the UK called This Morning, and they had a segment on ghosts, and one of the photos that they had up on the display was done with the iPhone app. And it was like, it's so simple, it takes 2 seconds. You just take a photo of the room and then you choose a ghost and how transparent you want it. And you don't have to be a genius to fake a ghost photo. I think, you know, it's really, really simple.
Would you consider belief in ghosts in any way dangerous?
I think it can be. I mean, there is a very thin line between, I don't know, like the ethical behaviour around those who believe in ghosts and then an unethical behaviour. But the belief itself, it can be dangerous because it can cross lines into things like possession, exorcisms. In the US, for example, some people who believe in ghosts pay people to come in and clear their houses, and all they're really doing is waving around a smudge stick, which is like sage. So there's the financial aspect of it. Sometimes belief in ghosts can be a delusion, but not all delusions are necessarily bad things that, you know, need urgent treatment. And that's something, as a ghost researcher, because I'm not a psychologist, I have no training in psychology, and you have to try and determine, okay, someone has a belief, they believe their house is haunted, but it doesn't mean I should report them to social services, but you have to try and work out where the line is drawn, you know, where the delusion means you really should try and do something. And I don't know I mean, there are cases that I've not worked on as such, but I've commented on, where people are convinced their house is possessed by a demon or a bad ghost, and they're very scared. And I think that's damaging. But also, then you get people who come in and do exorcisms. That can be really damaging as well. There is potential.
Okay. Have you ever managed to convince a believer, except yourself, that ghosts are more possibly material phenomena, they have material causes? Did you have anybody saying thank you for making me see that ghosts are probably not real?
I don't know, as in someone who believes ghosts are real.
Yeah.
I don't know about an overall belief as such. Maybe someone I'm not aware of who has read something I've done or something. But I know in individual cases, like a ghost team may have gone into a shop and done an investigation, and then we'll go in and give an alternative view, and people are like, oh, actually that's really insightful, thank you very much. That could be quite good.
So you might have somebody where you go and make an investigation, and they might think we might want to move out or sell the house or something like that because it's haunted, and then you come in and they say, okay, it's the draft because something like that. And then they thank you for that, and they get calm about it and then realize no problem.
I mean, there is a good case. I know of someone a landlord was being told by his tenants that their house was haunted and he had to move them, and then one of my colleagues went in and was able to debunk it and help him in that way.
Okay. Well, our viewers have seen that you wearing on your wrist something, and we want to clarify this. What is it? People might think it's a power balance band. But
it's not, no, it's a placebo band. It's the Sceptici.ro in Australia. They made them as a rip-off to show, and they're exactly the same. So yeah, it's really good.
Okay. Do you have any future plans, books, presentations, or things like that you might want our listeners and the viewers hear about?
I don't have any. I've got talks. I always do Skeptics in the Pub talks in the UK. I guess just listen to the podcast, RI Podcast. Go to www.ripodcast.co.uk, and but every 2 weeks a new episode.
Okay, thank you very much for this interview.
No,
it was a real pleasure. And I hope we will meet sometime later, let's say in a year or something. can tell us more about your progress. Thank you very much.
Thank you.